but I met so many people from different gangs. And I was reading one of the comments. Some dude, he was like, he kind of knew a lot about the streets, especially with the black hoods.
Mm-hmm.
You know how in your video I gave a shout out to Yellowstone from Black P Stones, Touche from Rolling 40s, TS, Tiny Scrappy from Neighborhood 55. It's sad because someone that knows about that area was like, yeah, Yellowstone's dead, Touche's dead, Tiny Scrappy's dead too. You know, it's just, I mean, those were all cellmates that I had that were legit, and they were writers, dude. Like, I had love for Yellowstone. Like, me and him got along real good. We were cellies in YA, and we were in Norwalk reception, so it was youth authority, but the reception. But yeah, man, that was my boy right there. He would always tell me I'm the Mexican him. He's like, look, you a Capricorn, I'm a Capricorn. You got 2 girls riding you, I got 2 girls riding me. You be putting hands on dudes, I be putting hands on dudes. You're me. You know, we just got along real good. But from what I heard is he got in a shootout with the cops and they killed him. So rest in peace to Yellowstone. Rest in peace to Touche and Tiny Scrappy from Neighborhood 55. I mean, those were some real ones. You know, and I built a lot of relationships with a lot of dudes from different hoods. Like, one of my closest homies from Venice 13. You know, I look at him like my cousin or something. There's hoods that I don't get along with, but I know people from their hood, and we boys. Like we don't get along with 18, but I had a celly from 18, you know, and that's my boy right there too. You know, I had cellies from Florence, cellies from Cantaranas, just different hoods, and those are all my boys. And if you guys are listening to, man, just write to my email, and we could maybe link up. You could probably get up on here, you know?
Definitely. You're going to probably get a lot of people hitting you up after a while, for sure.
Yeah, on the comments, I see a lot of people like, oh, I was in camp with him. I was in here with him. I was in the county with him. Like, write me. Write me. I want to know exactly who you are. Feel me?
We want to prevent people from being incarcerated because it's just a trap. And,
yeah.
And it could become a perpetual trap. Like, the recidivism rate is very high for gang members. And oftentimes law enforcement is over targeting gang members.
Yeah.
So they can get you on minor stuff, but give you big time, especially if you get
one
of
the gang enhancement.
Or if you get a joint suspended sentence, which could be a trap, you know.
Of course.
You take a plea, you get a joint suspended sentence for maybe 10 years. They'll let you out. But
once you fuck up.
Yeah, any little thing you do,
yeah,
you might be in there doing that whole 10 years.
And you know what I found ridiculous? Like, I'm from Lennox 13. I don't get along with Inglewood 13. Like, I grew up hating these dudes. They killed so many of my homies. But they know we killed a lot of their homies too, you know? So I grew up hating them. Like, I even got fuck pecs on me. That's how you diss them. On the eye right here on the west side with gunshots. I just don't like Inglewood 13. I would go to juvenile hall, beat them up. Camp, beat them up. YA, beat them up. Well, there's actually some fool in YA from Inglewood. Minor from Inglewood, he was a real one. I give him that. But, and then once you go to the prison, it's stupid because we're out here killing each other. But once we're in there, we're rolling together. You know, we all stick together. I remember one time we're in the yard and I'm doing pull-ups. You know, I'm freshly in prison, so my strength ain't all the way up there. I'm like, pulling. Here comes homeboy from Inglewood. He grabs my ankles and he's helping me. Go, homie, get that shit. You know, 1, 2, 3. And as I'm doing it, I guess he looks at my tattoo. And then I was like, all right, thank you, homie. And he was like, hey, man, by the way, I like your tattoo. He was being sarcastic. And then we end up being in riots together. Like, it's crazy because I had his back, he had my back. Because that's how it is in there. It's just silly. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it.
I mean, that happens to a lot of people. That could sometimes be the life-changing event for some gang members. They get out of prison and realize, man, it ain't really what it's all what I thought it was to be. Because
no, there's a higher structure.
Yeah, they got me on a level 4 yard riding with my enemies.
Yep.
I got to be shoulder to shoulder with my enemies, and I thought we was in here gang banging.
Exactly.
And it can make some people reevaluate their own position in the gang.
But I'm talking about the Sud. That's how we roll. Because in prison, I see Crips and Bloods fighting all the time. You know, they're not as structured and organized as us. But speaking from my experience, like it's stupid. You know, but if I see an Inglewood out here, he may be young. I'm not gonna beat his shit up. I'm not gonna look for him. I mean, if someone bangs on me like, "What's up? I'm from Lane Knox. What's cracking? I'm from Inglewood." Like, what? What you want to do? But I'm not out here looking for them anymore. I'm not looking for problems or, you know.
Yeah, you matured past that point.
Yeah.
And it would be amazing if you had someone from Inglewood on your podcast one day.
Maybe. I don't think it's gonna happen. No.
No, I'm sure you're gonna get hit up one day and say, you know, it might be some older dude. Maybe what if some older cat? He wants to kind of bridge the gap between these different neighborhoods that he feels like we need to get beyond this. Because at the end of the day, all this conflict is bad for families. It's bad for the young kids that have to walk through this.
Yeah.
It's bad for money. I mean,
it's real bad for money.
It's bad all across the board, you know? So it just takes mature heads to say, hey, you guys stay over there, we stay over here, we don't bother each other, and come to these agreements. Because I believe that Lenox and Inglewood can coexist without any conflict. It does take people to facilitate it. And usually mature, older guys can come to the table.
They tried before.
You got to keep trying.
They tried before, it just doesn't work.
The way it works is you keep trying over and over.
It's just only certain individuals that could get along with other certain individuals. It's just, I don't ever believe it's going to be, boom, like we'll all get along.
Well, it won't be we'll all get along, but you definitely can get to the point where
too many people died over this shit. Like, hey, it's not going to, I mean.
Every neighborhood's got that same story where people have been killed, but they overcome it. They overcome it. I just heard that the Harvard Park Brims and the A-Tray Gangster Crips, this is Blood and Crip, they've come to an understanding. Now, over the last 20 years, they've killed a lot of each other, but they were able to put that to the side, you know, and the United States dropped 2 bombs on Japan in the 40s, killed like 250,000 people.
Yeah.
Japan is America's ally now. How the heck did they get over that? 250,000 people.
Politics.
You know? So there's always a way around the past. In fact, sometimes we got to put the past and leave it in the past.
What about Harlem and 40s?
They were enemies for 10 years.
Are they good now?
They're good now. They were rivals from 96 to 2006. 10 years, and I don't know the specifics of what went down, but they were able to just forget about it, and they've been cool ever since. They've been cool since 2006, 2007. And usually these stories of neighborhoods being cool, they never get discussed. Law enforcement never puts that out there. They just heighten the neighborhoods that don't get along, the neighborhoods that clash. But there are many neighborhoods that didn't get along and get along now. You know, and I think that's something that we got to talk more about, because it gives the next neighborhood the idea that, man, we can do it too. If these 2 neighborhoods can do it, and these 2 neighborhoods can do it, and they got killings, and they've lost their loved ones, then why can't we do it?
Yeah, it's a touchy subject.
It's a very touchy subject, but that would be amazing to get someone from Inglewood 13, sitting down.
We might just fight. You guys will get a fight on YouTube.
Nah, you get a conversation, and then once someone breaks that ice, then you see others will follow.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really wants to fight and shoot every day. You know, you might want to do it when you're just a teenager, but even teenagers kind of get burned out. You know, people are suffering from PTSD living in the neighborhood. You know, this is the battlefield for some kids. And at the end of the day, peace is the only way to go.
Yeah. And
this goes out to everyone out there. 18 Streets, MS 13, all the different Crip neighborhoods, all the different Blood and Pyru neighborhoods. Man, the Pyrus are fighting Pyrus now in Compton, which I never thought I would see. It's sad because they were a unified, a unified force. Now it's all divided and broken up, and it takes mature, older heads to really bridge that gap and bring it together. I believe that all the Pirus can come together again, but it does take a lot of work, and sometimes it takes resources, it takes money, it takes all the things that law enforcement, the city of LA, the county of LA, they don't really want to back it completely. They talk a good talk, they want gang peace, but they don't support it financially.
Of course not, because it's bad for them. They need that to get paid.
Yeah, sometimes I do believe that, the gang enforcement details and all these gang cops and all these gang units, that's a career. That's a job for them. So without gang conflict, they don't have a job. So they definitely need to, their job is based on people fighting, people hurting each other, and people killing each other.
Yeah.
So what's the incentive for law enforcement or the city of LA to say, let's support peace movements between different neighborhoods? I would want to think that the mayor would want to see that, because that means less people getting killed. That means tourism goes up. That means more people will come here. That means more money. But they don't do it. They don't do it. They don't support it like they want to support gang units. They want to support hiring more cops. They want to support more gang details. They want to add more gang officers and more of the different departments of the LAPD. And that's where the money's going.
So I know you go to all kinds of different neighborhoods. You meet all kinds of different personalities.
All over.
Yeah, you meet real ones, and then there comes times where you meet a jackass.
All kinds. I meet the whole spectrum.
The number one jackass on your channel, you know who I'm talking about.
Nah, I don't know, because I don't categorize them at like
Lawndale Taliban Gang.
Okay.
What the fuck was going on through your mind when you were interviewing him? Like, were you laughing inside your head or what?
Nah, because I know that the dude established this gang for real, and I know that he socialized with the Harbor City Crips. And the Harbor City Crips is a real neighborhood.
Lennox 13 and Lawndale 13 don't get along. So I spent a lot of time in Lawndale. Taliban Gang is not real. That's like some bootleg off-brand shit. It's not real, dude.
It's real to them, though.
To them? How many are they? Like 3, 4 of them? That's not a gang.
Well, that all depends on how you define a gang. Do you think...
Okay,
here's a question. How many gangs are in LA County?
Several.
There's over 1,000. Can you name every single gang in LA County?
No.
No. Do you think you know
what
every
I
single
mean,
gang?
they're not a certified hood.
See,
people look at all the comments.
Labels,
people are laughing at them.
They do it on all
I'm
the
laughing
videos.
at them because I'm telling you, Lennox 13 and Lawndale don't get along. There was a time where Lennox found a little section in Lawndale, and we were low-key taking over that little area because my cousin JoJo and Minor lived over there. So all the homies would go over there. So little by little, we started taking little blocks. We started meeting people that lived there, and I mean, we established a little foundation there. Lawndale Taliban was never heard of. I've never heard that shit in my life until you posted it up. And he clearly just made himself sound like a baboon, just so he could promote his music. If he has people from Harbor City, that's cool. But I don't consider that a real gang. But since we're in that Lawndale subject, there's a gang called Eastside Lawndale. You heard of them?
No.
Well, Lawndale, a lot of people haven't heard of them. But anyways, we used to hang out on the west side. And then when we used to run into them in the county, like what's up, man? Like, how you guys let us be all in your hood? Oh, man, because y'all be on the west side. Y'all be on the west side. We over here on the east side. Like, if you meet people from Lawndale 13, like OGs, like your age, they don't claim Eastside Lawndale. They just claim Lawndale 13. But I feel like we pushed them to the edge where they started just claiming Eastside Lawndale. Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, gangs shift, they move. It could be demographics change. Maybe they didn't have enough people growing up on that side of Lawndale to continue Lawndale. They got you guys coming in there.
Yeah.
And making a geographic presence there, and it changes the face of the gang.
Yep.
But
that's what exactly happened. But unfortunately, my cousins got locked up. They're doing life, and so that house wasn't a hangout spot no more. And the other houses that were there, they end up going to jail too. So now Lawndale is all yours again, guys.
Yeah, it didn't have the
you could go back to regular Lawndale 13.
It didn't have the long-term impact that you guys were probably hoping, but that's the way gangs are. That's every once in a while you got a guy that wants to push the boundaries and cross over. So I guess someone from your neighborhood, your cousins or whoever, wanted to push the boundary.
Yeah, but it wasn't intentionally. It's just they happened to live there.
Yeah, it's natural.
So now we start like these guys seeing us there, like, what's up? Like, what?
It was a natural progression.
Yeah.
Because of residential location.
Exactly.
I guess someone's mom bought a house or someone's father bought a house there or rented, and people were just naturally living there. And yeah, I always see sort of slight changes in gang areas, but like you said, it's usually never deliberate. It's not like you guys got together and said, let's go move into Lawndale.
Let's march to Lawndale.
Yeah, we're gonna take over Lawndale. It just happened. You guys moved there, and then the homies came there, and then you guys started to spread around. That was a natural progression.
Yeah, it just happened.
But back to the real gang, fake gang, or what's considered certified. I give everybody a platform because everyone has a story. And I seen that dude was grinding for a while. I seen him hanging out with the Harbor Cities. I seen him in their videos. They vouch for him. And the Harbor Cities is certified neighborhood, if you want to use that term. So I just figured, hey,
maybe a few of them vouch for him.
Yeah, maybe
I
a few.
don't believe all of them do. Well, OG ones from Harbor City are probably, who the hell is this clown?
Well, I saw like 50 dudes, and he hanging out with all of them. So I don't really have the time to really check everyone out, but everyone's got a story, and he had a story, and his videos did very well too.
Yeah, because of the ridiculousness.
I mean, sometimes you'll look at a video and say, "Oh, it's terrible." No one's gonna share it. No one's gonna talk about it, and it won't get a lot of views. So you can say that it was ridiculous. But maybe some people were like, damn, this is a white boy talking from the streets, and he definitely has a hood upbringing. There's no doubt about that, and he's a white boy. So I think some people were fascinated by that. By
him coming on to that interview, he succeeded doing what he wanted to people to talk about him, because look, I'm over here talking about him.
yeah.
So that's enough.
He's the subject of a part of your podcast, but yes, we can move on to something else.
Yeah. As you guys can see, right now we're recording. This is actually Alex Alonso's little office. My little studio is still under construction. We don't want to hear roosters. We don't want to hear the airplanes flying by. So within time, everything will be legit. You will get my style of a studio where I will record my podcast. But as time progresses, I'll grow, and you guys will be here with me. But anyways, since we're about to cut this short, if you feel like you want to get on this podcast, like you got a story to tell, come on through. Email me. It's going to be in the description. And I mean, if you ever find anybody that's interested into my podcast, slide them this way. And if I ever feel someone that wants to share their story with you, I'll shoot them. I mean, it's all about networking. I think that most of the guys that we've interviewed, there might be a great person, Like, where are they now? Yeah. Unfortunately, over the last, let's say, I've really been on this interview tip since 2013. I've been doing it pretty consistently now 6 years. And there are some sad stories from some of the previous people I've interviewed. Some of them have been killed. Yeah. I think at least like 4 or 5 people. Or are they doing life? A couple of guys are in prison. But most of them are doing great. And that's the beautiful thing. Most of them are doing great. Unfortunately, I think 4 or 5 have been killed. Maybe 3 or 4 are in prison. But most of them are around, and they're accessible. Everyone's on Instagram, everyone's on Facebook, everyone's on Twitter. So any of you guys that have done an interview with me before, hit George up and do his podcast, because I think that this is a great opportunity to tell other people's story and definitely inspire,
and you can create your own brand.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can do something that you like, that you enjoy, and hopefully your platform, your channel can blow up to where other opportunities are presented to you.
Yeah. Well, one thing about me is just I'm not closed-minded. I'm real open-minded. Like, I remember when I was younger, I was dumb. I used to think, like, if you weren't from Lenox, then you ain't shit. Like, oh, you're lame. Fuck you. But now that I don't think like that, I talk to certain people and, like, they have no type of gang ties, but they're interesting as fuck. Like, wow, man, I like you. I mean, so even people that don't gangbang, like, if you have a good story, I want you here. I just want people to think outside the box. You know, it ain't all about the hood. There's only so much where the hood could take you. Feel me?
Definitely. You should open up your podcast to anyone that got a story that could be inspirational.
Yeah.
People. There's a lot of young people that they don't know what they want to do in life. They don't know what career they want to go down. They don't know what they want to study in school, and a podcast or an interview can be that inspiration for a young person to say, wow.
And for the ones that are active out there that don't know how to say, hey, man, maybe this ain't for me anymore. A
lot of those active guys, they have to go through what they go through. And
it's a shield.
And hopefully they can get through it without getting killed and without going to prison, or especially getting a long sentence, because, they're giving out numbers. Yeah. They're giving out numbers now with all of the gang enhancements and the gang allegations and things of that sort. So hopefully these young active guys on the streets that are watching me on their cell phones right now, because that like 70% of the people are using phones to access, podcasts and video. So, you know what, you active guys out there, excuse me, put the guns down, take a chill pill, relax.
And that's where me and you disagree. Like, even though I'm on the positive thing, for you active guys, if you're out there gangbanging, by all means, do your thing. I know how it feels. It's a beautiful thing in our way, in our eyes. But don't knock this down. If we're trying to make a difference for those who want to change, then support it. Feel me? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I would like to see the active youngster see a different way. Make some different decisions. Think about your family. Think about your mom and your father, or your grandmother, your uncles. Think about your kids if you have them, or think about your future kids, because being out on the streets, there's really nothing there for you.
And that's where it got me. I thought about my kids. Like I said, I don't want my kids growing up in Lenox. Fuck that. If I ever have a daughter, I don't want my daughter getting fucked by a hood nigga. Fuck that.
Aren't you glad you didn't get 20 or 30 years?
Oh, man.
And
I'm blessed.
Any of y'all could have got that.
You know how many bullets have flown my way? And I'm okay. That's because I'm blessed. You know how many times I dodged police and just got away smooth? That's because I'm blessed. But you're only blessed to a certain extent.
Yeah, it runs out at some point.
And I'm trying to avoid that,
Yeah. You know what they want you to do? They want you to say, fuck Lenox. They want you to turn your back to your neighborhood. They want you to just forget about all your homies, all your friends. And that's the problem, because most success stories, according to law enforcement, is people who leave the gang behind, leave it and go somewhere else. But we need success stories to stay with the gang. We need success stories to stay with the homies and be an inspiration to them. And that's something that I think you can do. That's something that I know a lot of other people are doing, and we just need more folks like that.
And that's definitely what I'm doing, because I know my baby's mama's hearing this. She's probably gonna get mad, but baby, I love Lenox too. Like, I knew Lenox way before you. I'm just with you now. But I got Lenox tatted all on my stomach, all behind my neck. It would always be part of me. But eventually you just got to move on and just support your kids and make a future for them. It's not about you anymore. But I love Lenox, if that makes sense what I'm trying to say.
No, absolutely. I know a lot of guys that are business people, that are entrepreneurs, but they still love their neighborhood.
Exactly.
Because there's two parts of the neighborhood. There's the gangbanging part of it, but then there's the identity that helped shape who you are and made you who you eventually became. And you can't dismiss that part, you know, because gangs are just extensions of neighborhoods. They're extensions of communities. They're a part of our city, and they're a part of our identity. And we just can't just say, F it, you know.
No.
I'm a Lennox 13 member. Lennox is always going to be a part of me.
I wouldn't be who I am without my struggles in Lennox, you know.
And I think that's a part of the culture that middle America, that most conservatives don't understand, because they just want you to completely turn your back on the community that defines you and just go somewhere else.
Yep.
And that's not normal.
Yep. Well, I think we're running out of time. I want to apologize if everything doesn't sound 100% legit.
This is the first one.
It's the first one, you know. You got to respect the process. Eventually, everything will be 100. But yeah, this is going to conclude our first episode, and I hope you guys enjoy. And please, if you guys want us to talk about specific subjects, put them all in the comments, and I'll do my best to touch that subject. But man, it was nice having you on this, and I hope to see you soon. And I have no problem doing another interview with you in the future.
And I'm glad that you picked me to be the first guest, and I hope much success to you.
Well, it's only right. You gave me that platform, you know? And I just want to thank everybody that emailed me, you know, to help me support this. I want to give a shout out to somebody real quick. This dude helped me out with the logo. Jesus Suarez, you a lifesaver. He hooked me up with these logos. Well, you'll see him later. But and also the homie Ruben right here, who hit me up out of nowhere, talking about he wants to help me with the video editing and all that. 100% free, just because he supports the cause.
And that's how you have to start off in the beginning. It's a grind. It's a struggle. It ain't easy. And that's how, you know, you can create something huge and big. Just people that respect you and that understand your movement just coming together.
But it's all networking. You know?
It's amazing how you could just meet Ruben and connect with people through the internet.
And Ruben's actually talented. Like, he shoots music videos, you know, and he raps himself. So at the end of the video, I'll put his information there, his Instagram channel, whatever. So if you guys want music videos, he does them cheap. So, I mean, just a little advertising right there.
Definitely.
Anyways, you guys have a good one. We'll see you next time. Yeah, I know I'm a product of my